I feel like the cage door is just closed. When I was 8 years old, I vividly remember the entire school gathering in the plaza to watch demonstrations of after-school activities. Judo was a brand new activity, and I was entranced by the way that they would flip each other onto the mat with grace, precision, and strength. As everyone dispersed to their activity of choice, I stood by the pillar waiting to see if any girls would show up on the mat. I waited and waited. Just boys. And because I was afraid, I joined the girls in choir. The fear of judgment, failure, discomfort, pain, regret, uncertainty, heartbreak. Fear is the biggest obstacle we face on the path to our dreams. The scariest thing I ever did was the decision to quit my secure desk job to pursue a career in cage fighting. How to pick up girls 101. Thank you. I come from a conservative Chinese-Filipino family, so the expectation was to get a business degree and go corporate. I was fresh out of college when I started competing in Muay Thai at 22. It was met with a lot of negativity, especially from family who were understandably concerned about my safety, but also associated fighting with violence, crime, and aggression. There were times when I didn't even tell them I'd fought until after it had happened. Eventually, after a year, I succumbed to the pressure. I decided it's time to get a real job. My desire to continue was overshadowed by my desire to meet the expectations of others so that they wouldn't be disappointed. As my mid-20s passed me by, and after 5 years of suppressing my inner voice, I found myself consumed by resentment and frustration. I was 27, young enough to take a risk, but too old to keep waiting. I battled myself for so many weeks, going back and forth between who I thought I wanted to be and who I actually wanted to be. What hung in the balance were two categories of fear. Fear of action. What if I fail? What if I can't handle the pressure? What if it's not what I want to do? What if I can't support myself? What if people judge me? Versus the fear of inaction, lifelong regret, and never meeting my true potential. In 2015, I was in LA for a training holiday. After some of the best days of my life, I looked around the gym and I thought to myself, this is it. This is what I need to be doing. One of the pro fighters asked if I could stay to help her prepare for a really big fight. I wanted more than anything to say yes, absolutely. But instead, I said, sorry, I can't. I have to get back to work. The following week, I flew back home, stepped into the office, and I handed in my resignation letter. I knew that I was going to disappoint my parents. I knew that there would be no job security or steady income. I knew that there would be no guarantee of success. And with that fear and excitement, I jumped. The moment that I decided that the approval of others was not more significant than my potential to be great in a sport that I loved was the moment that I released the weight that was dragging me back. 3 years into my career, and I've never felt more confidence, fulfillment, and gratitude. It has taught me more about myself and about the ups and downs of life than anything else I'd ever done. It makes me face high levels of physical and mental adversity on a daily basis and forces me to overcome them. It has rewarded me with victories and humbled me with defeats. By fully investing myself into a career that I'm deeply passionate about has without a doubt brought out the best in me. After establishing myself in the local fight circuit, I gained the attention of a regional promotion out of Korea. They signed me at the end of last year, making me the first person raised in Hong Kong to reach that level of professional MMA. A lot of doors started to open for me. On May 12th, I was scheduled to participate in a fight card packed with global talent in the heart of Beijing. It was one of the organization's biggest events in China. It was a dream of an opportunity. I was in the best shape of my life and more prepared than ever. This was the biggest fight of my career, and I was ready to make a statement. I had just switched training camps, and I was confident in my ability to put on a performance that would have cemented me as one of the up-and-comers in Asian MMA. 2 weeks before, all of it came crashing down. I was exhausted. It was the last round of sparring class. I made a bad call. I took my training partner down with poor technique. My leg was trapped under her full weight as my body turned the other way. I dislocated my knee. The pain was so intense that my body went into shock. I lay there on the ground, unable to move, uncontrollably shaking, furiously sobbing as tears, saliva, and mucus formed a puddle on the mat beneath me. In a packed gym on a Friday night, in front of my teammates, coaching staff, and the paramedics, for the first time in my life, I completely broke down. The physical pain was obvious, but the greater pain came from knowing that the fight was off. Having had 3 knee surgeries in the past, I knew that it'd be months, maybe even years, until I could fight again. One day, I was a professional athlete ready for battle, and the next, I couldn't even walk or tie my own shoe. I was overwhelmed and never felt so low. I kept on replaying the moment over and over in my mind, trying to pinpoint the cause and trying to find something or somebody to blame. I couldn't accept that this was my fate, so I was trapped in the past. My entire career was in question. I questioned my ability to recover due to my age, my perseverance to do what was necessary to get back into fighting shape to compete again, my finances due to lack of work, and if public interest in my career would dissolve. The amygdala is a part of our brain that manages fear. It is the size and shape of an almond and is responsible for emotions, survival instincts, and memory. Scientists found that when they blocked certain neurons in the amygdala of mice, their reactions to fear changed, from passive, which was freezing, to active, finding ways to cope. The takeaway is that human beings can consciously condition themselves to become more active and less passive in the face of fear. Over the years, I've come to develop a deep relationship with fear. I've come to realize that fear plays a role in every single decision that we make. It starts from the external influences of our childhood, our parents, teachers, schools, and friends. We grow up fearing people, things, situations, and consequences. These fears dictate who we interact with, what car we drive, what we wear, what career we pursue, where we work, who we marry, and in a threatening situation, whether we fight and protect or run and evade. The concept of having no fear is absurd, because without fear, we wouldn't have the motivation to survive, protect our tribe, or advance as human beings. Self-defense coach Tony Blauer states that believing that there is a state in which you have no fear in a high-pressure situation actually perpetuates even more fear. So instead of denying and trying to downplay fear, we need to acknowledge the power it has and use it to our advantage. Of course, like any fighter, I don't enjoy when my lungs are burning and my heart is beating out of my chest as I'm struggling for air while I'm getting punched in the face, kicked in the ribs, or pinned to the ground. I fear extreme discomfort, and I also fear the consequence of losing. But the one fear that I never considered was the fear of uncertainty, the possibility of falling and not finding my way back. The week following the accident, I was in a state of disbelief and shock. My days were a struggle between moments of hope and moments of heartbreak. The stress was so great that it caused me to break out in painful shingles, and within 10 days, I had gained 6 kilos. My confidence hit rock bottom. Misfortune aside, I'm incredibly lucky to have the support of friends, family, coaches, and teammates. I continued going to the gym every day to observe team practice and train upper body on my own. I accepted that I'm not at my best, but I am at my best given the circumstances. By fearing a setback, I'd automatically put a limit on my potential. I'd drawn a line in the sand saying, I'm gonna have a great career, but only under these circumstances. But in reality, circumstances are rarely ideal. Whatever journey we decide to embark upon, setbacks are guaranteed. Having plans is great, but an inflexible approach becomes a self-imposed limit. When my career trajectory changed, I was stunned. Like the mice, I froze and didn't react. But daring to do great things goes hand in hand with expecting the unexpected and experiencing a little hurt along the way. Simply put, we give power to what we focus on and believe, whether positive or negative. The more time and attention we give it, the more it grows. We are allowed to feel and be destroyed by our emotions in reaction to heartbreak and adversity. The week following the accident, I was a wreck. When I wasn't moping and being miserable, I was eating and being miserable. I know you guys know what I'm talking about. But at a certain point after the shock, the ball is in our court. Whether we let our trauma hold us back or propel us forward is our choice. Fear is everywhere and tied to everything that we do. It holds us back or pushes us forward. It dictates our next move, whether we take the easy or the difficult path. Being our best self requires a deep understanding of our strengths and our weaknesses, like our fears. Accepting who you are and what you're afraid of minimizes negative distraction, allowing more focus to go towards progress. It allows you to look at situations with clear eyes and make effective decisions to reach your goals. So these days, any chance I get to do something that scares the hell out of me, but I know will help me grow, I take it. Like this TED Talk. Public speaking, thank you. Public speaking has always been one of my greatest fears, along with clowns. But I don't feel the need to address that anytime soon. Every action that I've taken since taking that first leap in 2015 have been to subconsciously become the person that my 8-year-old self needed, to tell her that it's okay to be afraid. Just follow your heart. There will be road bumps along the way, but you'll be okay, I promise. Never be afraid to try, because you never know what could be waiting on the other side. None of us are guaranteed an easy life. This injury, this recovery, and my career to be the best fighter I can be is my fight, and every single person in this room is fighting for something. So if we can learn to manage our fears and accept them as who we are, there will be no limit to our potential. So the next time, instead of pretending your fears don't exist, look them in the eye and say, you. Yeah, you. Come over here. Have a seat. Pull up a chair. I'm going to get to know you, even though you scare the crap out of me, but we're going to do great things together. Thank you guys so much. Woo.